All right. Well, we're here again, and it's really nice to be able to do these alumni interviews. And I would like to welcome Gary Patterson, an old friend of mine. And Gary was at Enterprise. We'll let him tell you about that as we go through this. But welcome, Gary. Thanks for being with
Good,
us.
good to be here. Good to see you.
You bet. It's my pleasure. Uh, what did you do on this at Enterprise?
I was a food service director.
Food service. Now, how many years did
Uh,
you do that?
my family and I moved there in March of '88. We come in at spring break, at the end of spring break, and we left in '97. So
Oh,
9.5 years, something like that.
almost 10 years. So
Almost 10 years.
that's pretty good. Now you moved then to where? Where are you at now?
Sunnydale Academy over in Missouri,
Right.
and of course come here in '97. And if I do my math right, I'm just completing my 25th year, and I'm going to retire at the end of this school year.
My goodness.
Time
That's
goes so fast.
it does. It really, really does. And
But I'm excited because our oldest son Michael is been training and is actually going to step in and become the food service director. So I'm excited about that.
oh, that's neat. I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That is
yeah,
fantastic. Kind of pass the torch on.
yeah. And in fact, he'll be the third generation of our family that has operated the cafeteria. My wife's aunt and her mother were co-directors there back in the late or the mid '60s. And then, of course, I've been there, and now Michael will be stepping in. So it'll be third generation to operate that cafeteria.
Isn't that neat? That is
It's in our
fantastic.
blood.
Yeah, it must be. Well, you did a good job for me down at Camp Yorktown Bay. And
Yes.
of course, I had to swallow. And when they called me and said, "Do you know a good cook?" I was tempted to, but I'm
Yeah.
glad.
Well,
I'm glad we.
you got me my job at Enterprise. I don't know if you
Yeah.
remember that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
You
what
was
I
down at
said. I lost my
Southwestern.
cook.
Pardon me.
I said I lost my cook over that deal. My
Your
cook
cook at.
at Camp Yorktown Bay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But I'm so happy for you because that's really where you needed to be,
Yeah.
and that's where the
I
Lord was
I had
calling
a
you.
couple other opportunities there in '88 that I could have taken, but Enterprise is where the Lord wanted us, and that's where He took us. So
Yeah.
it was good years there for us. We
That's
lived in the little house. Well, if you go out the basement door of the church and just go right across the yard and across the Bridge Street there, that was our house there that we lived in, and
yeah.
it was a good experience for our kids and our family, young family. It was a good place to have them.
Wasn't that a good place to live
Yeah.
with your kids? That's really great. Uh, what part of working with students did you enjoy?
Just being around them, and of course I like to pick on people, so I like to pick on them, but just being around them, the energy that they brought, and um, just getting to know them and spending time with them and watching them grow and mature, and helping them when I could, and just all around enjoyed being with them. A little
Well,
stressful sometimes, but it was good.
for food service is kind of long days, isn't it?
It is, and it's basically doesn't matter what else goes on that campus. They want to eat 3 times a day. If there's spring picnic or fall picnic or whatever the case may be, um, Sabbath, Sunday, right on. I used to say I feed them 6 days, 3 times a day, and twice on Sunday, and there's no stopping.
And they kind of expect that, don't they?
They do.
They for sure do. Um, can you share some of your memories of some of the students, or do you have any that stick out?
Yeah, there was one girl, and I probably shouldn't mention the name Amber Dixon, but I heard she was in the bakery working back there, and I heard her holler, "Ow!" And I went back there. I said, "What's wrong, Amber?" And she held her arm up, said, "I burned my arm." I said, "How'd you do that?" And she turned around with the other arm and showed me how she done it and burnt that arm. But then there was and I won't mention this name, but there was a girl that very, very timid and didn't come from a good home environment. And I didn't find out she was a hard worker, on time, just didn't waste any time. And I put her to making a big batch of cookies. And it was a recipe that the fella ahead of me or before me, Mike Dirksen, had left there, and so I knew it was a good recipe. We had made them a lot, and they turned out to where I couldn't even save them. We just had to dump it. But sadly, I found out a few days later that girl, she was probably a sophomore. She didn't read on only about a third grade level, so she couldn't read the recipe.
Oh,
So
wow.
I figured out a way to without making her feel bad, we would work the recipe together until it was mixed up, and then she would dip them up and bake them and handle them from there. So, um, yeah, there's another fun thing I done with the students and the staff. There was an old smoking Sam, the mannequin they would use at the county fairs to show the ills of smoking. Found him down in the basement there of the student center, and about every other year I would take him. And the only restrooms in the basement were back and behind the cafeteria, behind the kitchen back there. Real small. They were probably 4.5 foot wide and about 5, 6 foot deep. And in order to get the door open, you had to open it. It opened into the restroom, and then you'd kind of have to turn around and let it close. And I'd in the girls' bathroom, I'd stand that smoking Sam in the corner behind the door, and scared quite a few girls and staff. So I had a lot of fun with that. I just like having fun with the kids,
That
and I
that
think
made
they
your
enjoyed it
day.
too.
You bet. Now, I'm sure, on my list of questions, we talk about tours, and I'm sure you didn't get to go on tours because you had to feed the kids that were left
Well,
behind.
actually, I did. They worked it out. I
Okay.
had my bus driving license, and I went on quite a few tours
Oh,
because they'd
okay.
usually leave Friday. Yeah, they'd usually leave Friday afternoon, and my Charlene, my supervisor, she would cover the weekend on, and we'd pick a weekend that I was off anyhow, and drove out on tours a lot, mainly music. I took the gymnastics a few times, but mainly the music tours, and I always enjoyed that. Another thing is talking about touring was the mission trips to Mexico.
Yeah.
I went on them probably every year that I was there. I went and cooked for them, and a great experience. Great experience.
Yeah. It,
A
it,
lot
the,
of long hours. It was blessings of the Lord because we
yeah.
would sometimes we'd drive. There'd be a couple of us driving, and we'd drive 26 or 27 hours getting down there and getting back. Of course, coming back, we'd always stop at Southwestern, but going down, we'd drive straight through. And the last year that I was going to do it, I'd headed the whole mission trip up, drove the bus and cooked. And of course, the cook, I have to be up at least 45 minutes to an hour before everybody else is up, and it's usually an hour before I get done to where I can go to bed. And I told them it was too much. I couldn't do it again. So uh, I didn't. I don't think I went on the last one, but my in-laws would come up and go with us. At just a great time.
We did that for a number of years, and finally, because of the situation down in Mexico, we've
Yeah,
had
yeah,
to stop it. That was
yeah.
a sad day that
Yeah,
we
we
had.
had a hard time getting in the last time we went down there. There was a lot of resistance from some of the right there at the border from some of the religious leaders of other denominations that were giving us some grief. But
Yeah.
yeah, they were good times.
Yeah, they were very, very, very good. Um, what uh, what was one of your best experiences at the academy? Anyone say?
Oh my. No, I don't think so. I mean, they just
You've told some
worked with a
good
good
ones.
bunch of, huh?
I said you've told some good ones already, so you
Yeah, I
may have.
worked with a good bunch of staff, and had a really tight staff, especially under the leadership of
Okay.
Hallam. What's his first name? Keith. Keith Hallam had
Keith.
really a tight group of staff, and I keep up with some of them on Facebook even to today, and had some really fantastic supervisors: Charlene Friesen,
Hmm.
April Lewis. I'm sure there's others, but those two stand out in my mind. They were with me the longest. Charlene was with me all but one year, while I was there. And of course, they're down there in your neck of the woods now.
They are, that's for sure.
Yeah,
And I think they're helping out. I think she's helping at a retreat center here. I
could
think
be. It's
I
been a
know her
while since
daughter
I've.
is. I know
Yeah,
Charla is.
we, in fact, my wife and I was down in Keene just last, let's see, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then we left Thursday seeing my brothers. But it was a quick trip in, quick trip out. But
Yeah,
I usually would go over and see them when I was in, but I didn't have time.
didn't do it this time.
No,
Uh, did you have a chance to get involved in any of the religious activities, and what one would stand
not
out?
not a whole lot. I always enjoyed because I was very involved in these the agape feast that we would have and the quiet spiritual emphasis that would happen at that time. Uh, I didn't always have opportunity to go to the week of prayers because they were usually right before lunch or right after lunch, and I couldn't get out of
Yeah,
the cafeteria. But the agape feast that we done were very meaningful.
that'd be very very meaningful. Do you have a special memory about your time at Academy? That,
Yeah, it'd be hard to pick any one thing out. Of course, like I said, it's been 25 years since I've gone from there,
yeah,
but
we're trying to
j-
stir your memories a little bit.
but it is hard to pick out any one thing. I mean, I still have some really good friends in the community there that seem like the only time we get to go over there is for a funeral, and
Yeah,
that's a sad time, but it's a good time to be together with friends. And there's a few of them that I follow, and but there's really nothing that stands out in my mind as far as just one memory that I could say was my
yeah.
my favorite.
Well, we sure appreciate you. I know we appreciated you when I was there on staff, and you were always willing to help out in every way you could.
Yep.
That was that's always nice, kind of makes good staff relationships and stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well, I was very fortunate too because my good wife, she was always willing to jump in. She does a lot of food decorating, food carving. And the other thing I was always thankful for, our oldest daughter, I think, was in, maybe third grade when we moved there. And our two boys hadn't started school yet. But I always had the boys and the kids there with me. And that was a great experience as far as being close to them and them spending time up there with dad. And it also helped them to learn the work ethics and how the cafeteria works. I mean, there's probably none of my kids, I mean, all of my kids could go into a cafeteria and fix a meal without too much hesitation.
yeah,
And I was always very fortunate that I could have them close to me. And in fact, our youngest boy, he used to totter up there when he was 4 or 5, and I'd ask him, "Does Mom know you're here?" "Yeah." "Well, Mom would call him, 'Where's Matthew?'" So uh, she would come and help educate him about staying at home when she'd come get him. So,
I imagine there was a little education there, and
yep,
well, it's really good to visit with you. We really appreciate your time at Enterprise and what you help make Enterprise
thank you.
move forward. And anyway, it's nice to visit. And so
Yeah,
thank
we've tried to get back to alumni, but generally, of course, when the academy was open, it would fall on the same weekend as our elementary music fest. Except there was one year that it didn't, and we planned to go. We had our suitcases packed, had them in the car, and backed out of the garage, and a little thing in the transmission went kaput, so we couldn't go anywhere.
Oh no.
So we never got over there for alumni. We got there for a graduation or two, but not alumni.
Well, maybe you can tune in for our virtual. We'll be
I
having
plan on it.
Friday
But
night,
What date is that?
April 9 and 10, and 7
No,
o'clock.
I probably won't be able to do it because our
Oh,
youngest son is getting married out in Washington State that weekend.
oh my goodness.
So we'll be in,
Well,
but I might be able to get on up there. I'll
oh,
see. Depends
congratulations.
on what goes on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exciting. That's a
Yeah,
special
that'll be
time.
all of our kids married and we have 7 grandkids so far and enjoy them to pieces.
Wow,
And they're all close. We're very fortunate with that. There's 3 of them in Kansas City and then 4 of them locally here. So I enjoy my grandkids.
that's great. That's wonderful. Good visiting with you. Uh,
Yeah,
have a wonderful evening,
I
and
will do.
Lord bless you. in
Thank
what
you.
you do.